and IT Department, the University of Lahore, Pakistan. Dr. Toqir received his bachelor and master's degree in computer science from the University of Central Punjab, Lahore, Pakistan, and he obtained his PhD degree from University Science Malaysia. Dr. Toqir's research interests include natural language processing, text mining, data mining, and sentiment analysis. He has published several articles in reputed journals and conferences. He is also serving as a reviewer for top-ranked journals, which include IEEE Transactions on Knowledge and Data Discovery, Information Fusion, Knowledge-Based System, Neurocomputing, Information Processing and Management, Applied Intelligence, and many more. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Toqir to begin the workshop on how to conduct literature review and organization of the literature. Over to you, Dr. Toqir.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. Hello, everyone. Today, I will give you a little brief in details about how to conduct a literature review and how to organize a literature. I will try to restrict myself only on the conducting on the literature review and organization, not on the writing side. So, with no more delay, I'll start from today's workshop. So, first of all, what about the literature review? So, the task should be to build an argument, not a library. So our task is not to build a huge library of research articles, but to build an argument, find the research gap, and formulate our problem, which obviously would be help to for your master's thesis or for your PhD thesis, because the literature review is quite critical and important for all these tasks. So let's just look into just formal some definitions by some researchers what the literature review is. So as reported by this researcher, the review is a systematic, explicit, and reproducible method for identifying, evaluating, and synthesizing the existing body of complete and recorded work produced by researchers, scholars, and practitioners. So what we are focusing on the work of existing researchers, scholars, scientists to build the problem statement of our own research and to find the gap where we can contribute and where we can play a part to perform our experiments. If we just go to a little bit more precisely, so the literature review is basically the scholarly articles, books, and the resources, which could be dissertations, which could be constant proceedings, which could be some websites, which could be government or some other websites, and find the relevant issues which are related to our field. So the field can vary from person to person. It's not necessary as we are talking about the computer science. So in computer science, you can see there's a huge number of variety of fields. You cannot say that this field is better, this one is, everyone is doing a very good research in their own area. So I will try to be generic, not to some specific area. So whatever talk about, it will be general about the computer science or general about the literature review. So the literature review basically provides a short description and critical evaluation of the work critical to the topic. So task is basically the defined the complete paper into a short description. From that short description, we can identify the methodology, we can identify the evaluation of the work performed in that particular article, and to find or to, you can say, the research gap or limitation of that particular article. So it offers an overview of significant literature published on a topic. So this is the basic idea of the literature review. So if we see that why we need a literature review, we all know that people are doing masters or PhD or writing proposals for such grants, writing research articles. So these all needs a literature review to support their arguments, to support their research work, to support their experimental evaluations. So the first one is obviously for the review paper or for the scholarly articles for your PhD or MS dissertations, to explore the new research area or to apply for research grants or writing a research proposal. So these all reasons would be required if we want to go toward the literature review, because it are all built on the survey which you have conducted in your specific area or specific problem. So conducting literature review will help you to determine if proposed research is actually needed. This is the basic question, that either we need a research or not. So you have to have a very good plea to justify that this research is required. There is a need to do some work in this field. You need to do some modifications in existing approaches. So you need to have a very strong plea, and for this you have to review the literature, to read the work of existing researchers, and to formulate your problem. So even the similar work will be published. It's not necessary that you are always looking for new problems. You can also contribute in existing problems. So still, you have to have build your problem on the basis of some grounds. So this literature will provide you those grounds on which you can build your problem. Also, to narrow down a problem, uh, if I talk about the computer science generally, or if I talk about the information systems, so again, these are two broad terms. So we have to narrow down our problem. We are not building a big castle. We are just contributing in a small part of that castle. The research community or research is a quite broad term. So our contribution will be a small part into that research, which we have to identify through our literature review. And obviously to generate the hypotheses or questions for further studies. The literature we read help us to build new questions. Questions arises in our mind when we read some articles. How did work has been done? Why this work didn't applied like using this particular approach? And what if we apply the same approach in the particular task? So these are all the things which could be answered from the literature review. So obviously, literature review is going to help you answer all such questions. So it will also give you the background knowledge of the field, what actual problem is, how people have solved it, how people have gone through to improve the problem. So facts about those studies, the scholars working in this field, the parameters by which they have evaluated their methodologies, their ideas, theories, hypotheses. So these all can be acquired from the literature review. The knowledge of the methodology is common to the field and feeling for the usefulness and appropriateness in various settings. So if you are talking about a specific area, specific field, and you are just focusing on that particular area, you need to know which techniques could be required to solve that problem. So those techniques could be identified, or those methods could be identified with the help of the literature reviews. So this is the basic thing which you need in every your aspect of research, whether you're writing paper, whether you're writing presentation, whether you're writing your research proposal. So you need to have a very good ground to build your castle. So this is a generic outline of the research review process. So what first comes is the formulate problem. So you need to have a topic, a field against which you want to conduct the literature review. If you're not sure about the field, then you have to read different fields and different literature to pinpoint a topic where you are willing to contribute, where you are willing to participate, or where you're willing to put some effort. Once you formulate the problem, then you search the literature for the materials which are relevant to the problem you have identified. And obviously, those related materials would be available from your related published articles. And with the help of those articles, you can define your problem. So these are basic needs to any research problem. And then to evaluate the data, determine which literature makes a significant contribution to the understanding of a topic. Now, when we read multiple articles, we see that people have used different approaches for the same task. Now, it's our responsibility to read them, to analyze them, which could be better or which could be improved or where we can participate. So this all will go on and on. You read one article, two articles, 10 articles, and so on. And then you formulate your problem, and then you will be able to answer questions, how to formulate a problem, how to solve it. So once you have done this, you can analyze, interpret, discuss the findings and conclusions of the pertinent literature and format and create a bibliography which would be required for your future findings. So some of the tips for formulating a problem is select a topic you are interested in. So first of all, obviously you need to have a field. For example, if you're talking about myself, I'm interested in the data mining, text mining, sentiment analysis. So I will need to search the articles related to this particular field, which obviously motivates me where I want to do work. Then choose a topic with a feasible focus. Now, I don't need to have a broader term. We need to have a specific term. We need to have precise. Let's say if we talk about the head itches, it's a big, huge term. There are lots of factors involved, head itches. There are lots of diseases could involve. So you don't need to go to the broader term. So be specific, be focused on us one topic, and then conduct a literature review on that particular field. Get help getting early and often. Solicit opinions before you begin review drafts and start them. So you will need the help from the different drafts, from a supervisor, from your colleagues. So you need to start early, then discuss with them, and you can solicit opinions which you have started with. You may start to out with the general idea or with the literature of the area, and then define your problem based on what you have found. So it's not necessary that when you have started, you have found your solution. No, it's not like that way. You read, read, and read again. Sometimes you're distracted. You go towards the other side, then you come again on the track, and then you try to refine your problem, and you try to compiling the things according to your research interest. So this all happens with everyone in the field when they are doing literature review. There are millions of papers in over the web. So from those specific huge amount of data, how to identify those papers which are specifically relevant to your task, which are specifically relevant to your problem. Maybe people have done the same things to other problems, but you have to be easier. So we will discuss about these things, how to search articles which would be relevant to your specific task. So the literature includes can be any format appropriate to the your problem. So you don't need to restrict some journal articles, because if we talk in computer sciences, we know that there are several conferences, which I'm going to discuss some of them in the later on, which have more reputation than the journal articles. So never restrict yourself into only on one side. So you can go towards the books, you can go towards the reports, conference proceedings, some other websites. If you are using some like medical sites, so you can choose some government's websites or some medical association websites to refine your problem. So you need to keep yourself broad, not too specific only on, because in normal routine, most of us think that only journal articles are of worthy to investigate. But there are other materials which are there to in our domain, which would be more important than the journal articles. So we need to look all these things all together. Then obviously you can check on your library or your university databases, additional resources which have been provided to you, to how to search them, to how to read them. So these all facilities will be provided to you in different universities. So literature search is perform a preliminary search of the literature. So this is the first task. Search literature to see what other work in the area of interest has already been published. This is the first task. People have done obviously some previous works and published their articles in different journals and conferences. So you can first search them, read them, and then you can choose a particular number of articles which have been identified with respect to your topic, and then you can evaluate them. So even if the problem what you are thinking has already been published or already been addressed by some researchers, no need to just leave that topic. You can think some other things. You can redefine your objectives. You can redefine your methodology. So these things could be is normal in the research community. Then when you think of something, some people have already done it, so you think of something else which could be more convenient for to solve the problem. And obviously, recent journals issues in the area which you are talking about, you can find different databases like Work of Science, where you can find relevant journals, you can find the relevant associations, you can find relevant conferences where you can identify the topic. Obviously, when we talk about the literature review, we focus on the most recent work rather than the most oldest one. So from most recent, we go towards the backside, and then we can see that what people have done now, because that gives a real picture, that gives a real guideline where we can start, where we can move. And then we develop a list of subject headings that relate to themes of interest. This is obviously when we read an article, we try to organize it, we try to summarize it so we can use it later on. So search across the multiple database information sources. Obviously, never restrict yourself on only on one database source. Most of us usually use the Google Scholar to search research articles or Science Direct. But there are other databases where you can search for articles. There are some journals which are worthy. There are some articles which are good, but not in listed in these famous databases. So we need to explore all the available options to find the relevant papers, relevant articles related to our topic. So next is the read the literature throughout the search process. What you read will guide you subsequent searches and refine your topic. So once you read, you define your topic, you define your methodology, think about the gap, then define your methodology. Then sometimes you need to read more literature, and this process goes on unless you find you reach some specific goals. So your search should help refine the topic and objectives of the overview being written. So if we divide the tasks to conduct a literature review, we can divide into 7 different tasks. First task is to choose a topic, define research questions, then select your source, then choose your search terms, then running your search, applying practical screening criteria, applying methodological screening criteria, and synthesizing the results. So with the help of these 7 tasks, we can conduct our literature review efficiently and more effectively. So I will going to discuss these tasks one by one in detail, and there are some things which I have mentioned, so I will going to discuss them one by one. So first, choose a topic, define research questions. So let's consider yourself to a specific area of study. You need to think what your interest is and what is the interest of the researchers is. It's not necessary that you are good in every area of the research. For example, if you ask myself, maybe I am not good into the network side because that is not of my interest. So I don't need to find to let's say to that particular domain because I have identified my research interest. So now, obviously, it could be changed with the passage of time, but you have to show you can problem. For this, you can obviously talk to your professor, to your colleagues. You can check to the lecture notes, recent issues, which can help to identify which area is of your interest. And obviously, don't limit your area to a broader side. Be specific, be focused. For example, here the examples given that if focusing on France role in World War II instead of focusing the World War II in general. So if we are talking about the network security, so network security is a broad area. So you need to dig more inside and find the more appropriate topic, which would be of interest of your interest. So why do we need a research question? This is what. Because for research question, we have to build our problem. We have to build our methodology. We have to build our whole picture. Because without these questions, you are blind. First question will be what you want to do, from where you want to do, and how you want to do. So you need to have these questions. So let's take a scenario. Let's say one is applying for a research grant to detect the brain tumor from obviously medical images using the deep learning approach. So this is the area. This is the specific topic which are of interest to find or to investigate. Obviously, this comes under the domain of image processing, but image processing is a bigger picture. So I have narrowed down a little bit about the topic. So if I have to think about the research questions for this topic, what those research questions would be. Let's talk about one first about the broad term. So what strategies have been adopted to detect brain tumor? This question is quite broad. Those approaches could be automatic approaches, those approaches could be manual approaches, those could be related to medical sciences, those could be related to the computer science. So you are not sure where to go. So this is a very broad term to search. Let's take a little bit more, go into a bit more deeper to narrow down our question. Which deep learning techniques have been applied on brain tumor images? Because the previous slides, I told you that the task is to identify the brain tumor using deep learning techniques. So this question could be more relevant to my problem. To search the deep learning approaches which have already been applied for the brain tumor. Now let's take it more in depth. What it could be? What is the process to detect brain tumor using convolutional neural networks? Now, CNN is a specific deep learning algorithm. Now we have first identify the problem, then we have about the techniques. Now we are talking about a specific algorithm. So now we have a broader term, narrow and very narrow now. But this graph is going to show you the relevance of the papers with respect to your questionnaire, the questions we have built. So this side you can see the relevancy of the articles. This is the retrieval number of search results. So more broad questions, you have less relevancy, but retrieval of search results should be quite high. So there will be more papers, but less relevant. So as you narrow down the question, so here you can see the relevancy is quite high, but the number of articles are quite low. So more specific question will be, more relevant articles would be, and obviously those articles could be quite less numbers. So where we should go, either with the broad term or with the narrowed down, which one? So according to my analysis, or which I have read through the different sites, so it's better to go with the narrow one, not neither with very narrow approach, neither with a very broad approach. Because with the very narrow, you will be stuck with a specific technique, and with the broader one, you have specific many techniques with many different domains. So with the narrow approach, you can find the most relevant articles and which are specific to your problem. So this is all up to you, how you define your broad question, how you narrow down it, and how you apply the search queries. So never be so generic, never be so specific. that it could be on the algorithmic side. So there should be a medium side where you can find more relevant papers, and obviously more relevant papers means more strong basis for your research problem. So next is selecting your source, from where to search. So literature review basically depends on 7 data sources according to some researchers. One is online public bibliographic database, then commercial bibliographic database, then some specialized bibliographic databases, then manual or hand search of reference list, then gray literature, web reports, and then expert opinions. So these are the 7 sources from where you can search your literature. You can see that there are some databases which are open accessed. There are some which are not open accessed. There are some which are specific to some specific dedicated to some specific field. So we have to think all of them and choose according to our domain, according to our task which we are performing. So if we talk about the computer sciences, so these are the more one I have listed few. There are some more obviously, but I have some most the famous or most used databases which we use in our normal routine life, which could be Google Scholar, Science Direct, Springer, IEEE Explore, ACM Digital Library, Web of Science, Scopus, PubMed, and Archive. Archive is basically is largest data base for bibliographies for non-peer-reviewed articles. But if you go through from the last few years, go through the different articles, you will see lots of researchers are uploading their uh, articles which are not peer-reviewed on Archive, and people are citing them. I have reviewed many papers for reputable journals, and papers from this website are considered to be authentic, and people cite these articles. Sometimes it happens that they published in future, but before publication, these papers are citable. So you can think of this site too. Not all the databases. You can also go to the archive.org. Then you can also go to the websites, different associations, organizations, or government. For example, if you talk about artificial intelligence or machine learning side, then Association of Computer Linguistics is an association we can find, and there are different societies of IEEE. There are some different societies of ACM from where you can find the relevant materials. Then what gray literature could be, there could be dissertations or thesis. There could be some scopus interest conferences which are not listed in the famous websites, and other materials which you can find from the web search engines. So the material from the web search engines find would be your manual search, which weren't available on the famous databases for bibliographies, and so you have to manually search them. Obviously, the number of papers are quite low, but there could be some, depends on the on your topic, depend on your field. Here I just have gone through an analysis of different databases for computer science research. Now here I am getting specific to computer science because obviously this is a computer science collegium. So you can see the ACM Digital Library. It has some 2.5 plus million articles. Then IEEE Explore Digital Library, where you can have 4.7 million articles. Then DBLP, a very famous one, but they don't provide the articles. It does give you the articles and author details, and you can also export the citation from that site. But it will not gonna give you a full text article. So if you need the full text article, you have to go to the publisher site and then find the appropriate paper. Then Microsoft Academics is there, and then Springer lecture notes. I'm just mentioned Springer lecture notes here because this is the you can say one of the biggest site which published the conference proceedings. with the name of with the platform of the Stringer. So here you can find around 500,000 articles. We can abstract references, full text, and you can also import these citations in EndNote, BibTeX, and other tools. And here I have mentioned the website from where I have collected these statistics. So these are the most famous databases for research articles. But obviously, you cannot restrict yourself to these ones. You can also explore the others, the most famous on Google Scholar, then Science Direct, Web of Science, Scopus. So you can go all through all of them and search your relevant articles and then decide where to go. Now comes towards a little bit about journal articles. This is the area where many people can contradict with me. I'm just giving my own analysis, my own opinion. So I'm not saying that this is the 100% authentic. People can contradict with me, but with my experience, what I have learned, I'm presenting my analysis over here. So when we are talking about the journal articles, we see two categories. One are the free journals and one are the open access journals. The free journals are highly reputed journals. You can see Elsevier, Springer, IEEE Transactions, AC Communications, Sage, Taylor Francis. These publishers have most of their journals are free journals where you can publish freely. You cannot access freely, basically. You have to pay charges to access their papers, but you can publish freely in these journals. So when you go towards the free journals, so they will gonna check your quality of the paper. They will check the novelty of the paper, and then they have a very rigorous peer review process. And sometimes it took more than a year to publish in high quality journals. So you can see how rigorous their peer review could be. So obviously papers in these journals with these publishers would be of high quality, will give you a more in-depth picture, will give you the more reliable information, the more authentic information, which could be needed to build your problem. And these journals, they have different ranking about these journals, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and most of them are the impact factor journals. Then there comes the open access journals. I'm not saying that they have the bad quality, but at some extent, not all journals, but many journals compromise on their quality. But you can find quality journals for quality articles from there. So you have to search for yourself. You have to analyze for yourself which one could be better, which could not be. Now, why people go towards open access journals? They have a fast publication process. I have mentioned that the free journals sometimes took more than a year. So it would be quite disturbing if after 9 months or after a year your paper got rejected after 1 or 2 review cycles because it has been done to me. So it is quite disappointing and then discouraging for a person. So that's why people sometimes go towards open access journals. With the open access, you have a fast publication, you have a quick response. So if you are searching from these journals, for free journals, you just focus on the publisher and then go through the paper, no need to analyze it. But when open access journals, it's better to go towards Q1 and Q2 journals because there are very reputable journals. There are Q3 and Q4 journals for open access. You can find some good articles from them, but overall their reputation is not much higher as you compare with the free journals. Then I have also categorized index journals and non-index journals. Indexing means either indexed by Web of Science, which is impact factor, or Scopus index journals. So if a journal has an impact factor, there's no issue. That journal has a quality journal, and you can easily find good papers from that. For Scopus, if you have Q1 or Q2 ranked journals, yes, they are good journals, so you can rely on them, you can find from them, you can read them, and you can build your problem. Because why I am mentioning these things here? Because I have seen some, pardon, I think there is a question, so let's.
Dr. Toqir, let me help you on that. So One of the participants is asking, saying that there are many research papers in computer science are in ARXIV, but not all of these articles are later published in formal journals. So, any advice on how to rely on these articles from this particular source?
Well, it's true, but not all journals are published. All papers, not all papers are published in this archive website. So there are papers which have not been published. So I will give you a more in-depth tip how to judge which paper from this site should be picked and which not. I've just mentioned one thing, and then I'll discuss in detail later on in the next upcoming slides. You can check the citation of the paper. If the paper is highly cited, it means it's worthy to cite, it's worthy to investigate, it's worthy to read. But if no one is citing it, let's say the paper was published in 2018 and still it has only one or two citations, so you can, I'm not saying that that paper is bad, but you can judge yourself. Either you need to read that paper or not. So I'll come into later in more detail.
All right, thanks, Dr. Toqir.
Okay, so I was talking about the index journals, Web of Science Scopus. Obviously, there are quality journals. Now there are some non-index journals which are not indexed by Web of Sciences or Scopus. So it's better to avoid unless until you are not sure that the paper is high quality. If the paper is of high quality, then you can go towards it. But if you think it's not of quality, don't go towards it. Yes, there are journals which are not indexed yet, but they have been published from some famous publishers like IEEE, ACM, as well as Springer, and other publishers also. So I have reviewed some papers for IEEE transactions, which are, I think, recently launched, and they are not yet indexed by Scopus or Web of Science, but I have seen the process. I have seen the peer review because I was a part of the peer review. So they have a very rigorous process. So if you have a good publisher and still the journal is not indexed, then you can go towards that. I think there's another question.
Yes, let me read it out for you. It's from Bello. He's asking, are you saying that Scopus Q1 and Q2 is better than Web of Science Q3 and Q4 impact factor?
Well, it's very difficult to say that it's better or not. Because if you see in Scopus Q1 and Q2, I think all of the Q1 and Q2 journals are impact factor journals. I don't think there is any Scopus Q1 or Q2 which is not impact factor. So you can imagine that a journal has an impact factor and also listed by Scopus, obviously will be the higher quality. But you cannot say that the Scopus is better than Web of Science because Web of Science has a much rigorous process to rank the journals rather than the Scopus. So obviously Web of Science, if there is an impact factor, there's no need. It's Q3, Q4, Q1, Q2, it's all okay. But Q1, Q2 obviously of the high quality. But if you have to move to the Scopus, then better to go towards the Q1 and Q2. Yeah, these Q1 and Q2 Scopus for the Scopus ranking, not for the Web of Science ranking. Because if you see the Scopus, they have different ranking, and for the Q1 and Q2 for the Web of Science. So maybe I have. I think the discussion is going a little bit long, so maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I will help you to keep track on the question first. You can move on with your next topic.
Just answer the question, last one. Dr. Shaira has mentioned that non-index journals should be avoided in their opinion. Yes, I agree with you That's why I written that these should be avoided because they will not be counted towards a university contribution. But if someone sees that there is a very good paper, it is not for the publishing purposes, it's for the literature review purpose. So if one thing that the paper is good and its journal is not indexed yet, then you can add it into literature review. But for the publishing purpose, yes, I totally agree with you. So to identify the reputation which already been gone the outside for papers, so you can with the citation of the paper. If the citation is quite high, then you can rely on that one because people are quoting that particular paper and are citing that, so it would be of high quality. And obviously, beware of the fake impact factor. Many journals mentioned global impact factor. So there is only one impact factor which is reputed and which is acceptable from the Web of Science. So beware of the fake impact factor with different journals. Okay, now there are some journals which are claimed, which are said to be predatory journals. So again, some people can contradict my statements, but this is what I have learned from different websites, from experiences. So usually predatory journals or publishers, they have a very low quality of papers, but I have seen some papers which are of good quality and published in those journals. But this is all up to you, how you read the paper and how you analyze the paper. Now, why these journals or publishers are called predatory journals? Because they don't have any proper peer review process. They claim, but they don't have. I can name some journals, but I won't, which I know that they don't have any peer review process, but they are Scopus index, but they are not. They don't have impact factor. And but question rises: how to identify that a journal is predatory or publisher predatory? So I have mentioned here two websites. It's my own experience, my own practice. I'm not enforcing anyone, so it's my just I'm showing my practice over here. So when I search over the web for my literature, so if any publisher or journals is listed from any of these two websites, which you can see is one is a Beals list and the first one is predatory journals. So I avoid those articles. I avoid those publishers because many of them have a fake, non-existing or misrepresented impact factor. But the main reason they are not peer reviewed, and you write anything, send it to them, they will just charge you some money and then go and publish it. But if you think that someone has didn't have an idea and published a good paper in these journals, you can cite that. People have cited some articles from there. But my practice is that I like to avoid papers listed in these two websites. Then comes to the conference proceedings. The conferences are very high, have very high reputation in our computer science domain. Even they have higher impact than many of the high impact factor journals. But not all the conferences are worthy. So it up to you, choose wisely which conferences are worthy and which are not. Yes, there could be some papers which are published in unknown conferences. So again, it's up to you. But if you are talking about conferences, then you have to be careful. I have mentioned a few ranking of the conferences where you can search the most famous conferences in computer sciences from different domains. It could be from networks, it could be artificial intelligence, it could be data mining, it could be from methods, processing, from all the domains of computer sciences. So they have the ranking. You can find some more websites. Just need to dig Google a little bit more to find more websites to get the more accurate ranking of the conferences, because they, as Web of Science, there is no specific ranking criteria for the conferences. But one, yes, you can do, which I'm showing you here. This is the statistics of the Google Scholars. From there, I picked the domain engineering computer sciences and picked the database information systems. And you can see that there are top 10 publications in different platforms. And among these platforms, 8 are conferences. Only two which are IEEE transactions on knowledge and data engineering and information processing and management. These are journals. The rest of all them are conferences. And this is the top 10 ranking by Google scholars. So you can analyze the importance of the conference when you are searching over the web. I have seen many scholars in many countries, they rank conferences higher than the journals. In our side, obviously, with different communities have different criterias, but you can easily analyze the statistics of this slide, and I don't think that there is any ambiguity over there. I'm not saying that the journals are not of high quality. I'm just saying that there are conferences in our domain which are more reputed than some of the highly reputed journals. So you have to choose which conferences according to your domain, and then you can search your literature from those conferences too. Now, we have talked about the search questions. We have talked about the databases from where we have to search. Now, how to choose your search terms. So breaking down your question, so we have the database. Now we have to break our question into concepts. Concepts like deep learning, like image processing, like text mining, like data mining. So this obviously the broad terms you can more specify your search concepts. And then identify subject heading for each concept and identify text words for each concept. So this is all up to you how you choose your keywords, how you choose your concepts. More precise, more accurate results will be. And here are some tips in the bottom. When obviously you are searching over that, maybe you have some kind of a target article. So if you have found one article where you said that, okay, I want to work with this domain, so that article would have some keywords, because every article has some keywords. So you can use those keywords to build your search query, and also the words of the paper title. So combining these two, you can make an effective search term, which can lead towards the more relevant papers in your domain. And obviously, you can keep track of the terms you have chosen, and then reiterate them with different parameters, which I'm gonna discuss a little bit in the future in the next slide. Different websites have different subject headings. Here I am just talking about the generic computer science headings, but if we go more deeper, then we can see that some databases have information systems, some databases have information science, then these kind of relevant subject headings. Now here you can see IEEE Explore used computing and processing, science direct subject heading that are the closest match for your concept. These are the broader terms. Then if you are talking about the image processing, then you have to, it's not necessary that you will get the image processing heading in your database. You may have different names, but you have to choose the most relevant with relevant to your search term or with your topic. So running your search, with your search terms. So first is a start with your first concept. What you have first concept or first keyword, you can say. So search for the subject heading first, but the title of the paper. Though you can see maybe they have mentioned that term you are searching. If it has been mentioned, that is good. But if not, then the search in the keywords of the paper, text words where it has been mentioned, and then search accordingly, and then combine the synonyms of the searches with or operator to more enhance your search history, to more accurately find the relevant articles. For example, if I say that I was working in the domain of the sentiment analysis, so I would first look at in which title sentiment analysis part has mentioned. If yes, then it's good. I'll go with that paper. But if not, then I'll check the keywords or within the text. The sentiment analysis has been used or not. Then I will use opinion mining, which is obviously a synonym for that one, and use it with the or sentiment analysis or the opinion mining. And then I will find my search history. Then more relevant papers would be there. And this practice will be repeated 1, 2, 3 or more times. And when you have find that this keyword is producing the most relevant papers, then you can combine different keywords with the AND operator. So what will it gonna give you? Let's say you have a concept one, you have searched different articles with the help of that concept. Then you can say that concept one or two or three and four with the OR operator what you have found. Similarly, you have used another concept, another keyword, and whatever you have found, you can say that this search is with this or this operator. And then you can combine these two concepts, these two different keywords, and see that how many articles are using both of them. For example, if I talk about my experience, so when I was working, I searched for the sentiment analysis. That was my concept one, and there are different synonyms for that: opinion mining, text mining, etc. So that was my search one, search two, search three, search four. Then my second concept was the aspect extraction. That was my search number 6. Then the opinion extraction, search number 7. Opinion target section. Then next concept, the synonyms of the same keyword. So concept 1 and its synonyms. Then concept 2 and its synonyms. So I have to search boxes with relevant papers. Then in the third stage where it has been mentioned, search 11, I will combine them both. Like I will combine whatever I found with the sentiment analysis and aspect extraction, opinion mining and aspect extraction. So the AND will more precisely give me the more accurate results, because sentiment analysis may have different tasks. Aspect extraction could be used in the different fields, but for sentiment analysis plus the aspect extraction, I will get the more accurate and more relevant papers with which are of my interest or which are related to my problem or which are related to my topic. So you can refine your research, refine your search for the articles with the help of this technique. So applying practical screening criteria, there are two criteria basically. One is the practical screening, another one is the methodological screening. So practical screening to identify the broad range of potentially useful studies, and the methodological screening to identify the best available studies. So what could be the practical methodologies would be the data publication. For example, you are focusing on the publication from 2016 to 2021. It means that within the last 5 years. Then if your study has some kind of involvement of participants, then you can specify the range of the participants or the range of subjects, like 50 to 70 years old. Like if some people are working on COVID-19, the topics related to COVID-19, so they can apply this. Their focus of the people is only those who are 50 to 70, so rest will be excluded. When publication language, either it will be English language or other language, so you can refine your research with this one also. And then research design, either it was only a lab trials, like it applied only on a benchmarks or some real or manually created data sets on some data sets from the real world. So you can refine your research and you can screening, this will be the screening criteria from which you can exclude those articles which did not qualify these parameters. Then the methodological screenings would be, you can define some kind of standard for the high quality studies. There could be questionnaires, which maybe I will give you a little brief about it, with which you can judge the quality of the paper. So how a scientifically study has been designed, review only articles which meet the selected standards, and then search with considerably narrowed. So your search will be narrowed down, and you can get more and more relevant papers. So what would the next step is moving towards the methodological part. I'll give you more explanation over here. So first, if you save or export research into a citation manager, for example, EndNote, so you must use some kind of reference manager tool, because it will gonna ease your many problems. I will gonna discuss it in detail in the next part, how to organize the literature. Remove duplicates, remove inappropriate studies by applying methodological screening. I think there are some questions, so let's, if possible, address them first.
There are actually three, Dr. Toqir, so you want to take it all now, or?
I think one is again on the journals, so I think yeah, the last one I think I can answer it right now.
Okay, so let me read out the question so the participants knows what's the question about. How to decide date range for publication, for example, between 2010 and 2021, and you search it in the middle of 2021. Wouldn't the literature review paper become outdated at the current time, or when we are nearly end of the year?
It depends what kind of literature review you have written. If it's just summarization of different articles, it's obviously it will gonna outdate it. But if you have some kind of analysis, but still it will not be outdated, it would be a benchmark that from, let's say, 2010 to 2021, this part has been done. Now we'll move from 2021 to onwards. Let's say if I'll talk about myself. So I published a paper in 2016, and where I gave a survey paper, where I concluded all the papers which I found relevant to my area till 2016. Now, from 2016 to 2021, there's a gap. That paper is not outdated. That paper is basically giving you all the material before 2016, and you can find from 2016 to 2021 in other research papers. So it depends how you have written and how you are taking that research paper in your mind. So paper usually in these terms never outdated, because obviously it has some contribution. 2020 to 2021, it has represented you all summaries of papers, so you can rely on that and you can continue for 2021. So at the end of this year, it won't be outdated. It will be our next step for the next research. So next researchers could start from where you have ended. So this is the like publishing the papers from 2010 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022, and then so on. So there could be boxes of research papers sorted in the sorted form, you can say. So it's hard to say that it will be outdated. So let's come towards the again methodological screening criteria. Some questions to ask, which you can ask yourself by reading and answer yourself also by reading the articles, to either to select that article or to exclude it. So first question would be, is the study's research design internally and externally valid? Are the data sources used in the study reliable and valid? Are the analytic methods appropriate? Are the results meaningful in practical and statistical terms? So this question will help you to analyze a research paper that either is of a good quality or not. You have to keep it for your literature review, or you need to exclude it. So it's all up to you how you read the paper, how you answer these questions, but this question can help you to decide whether to keep the paper or not. So move to another source. Retain as much of your original strategy as possible. Recognize that heading will be different or non-existent. Keep track of your search terms using new worksheet. So you have done one, you have searched from the one source, now move to the next source. For example, you have searched from the Science Direct, now use the same strategy to the IEEE Explore, and then same strategy towards the ACM Digital Library and other, obviously, resources too. With this strategy, you can have papers from different databases. They could be duplicate papers, so you need to remove those papers which are duplicated. And obviously, this will gonna give you more precise number of papers. So hand searching and final steps, look at the reference list for selected articles. Now here comes some tricks which you can use to search without using a search database. So look at the references list for selected articles. So if you have found an article, usually in nowadays in conferences and in journals, they mention the submission date and acceptance date and publication date. So if a paper has been submitted in January 2021, so you can see the references. Those references would be valid till, obviously, the author has been collected those articles which were till the December 2020. So that would be another database for you for related articles from the paper of your interest. And similarly, you can this I call this a backtracking. So you publish from published articles, you are backtracking the previous articles which that article has cited. So obviously the authors have cited only the relevant papers, not other papers. So that could be another database for you for your literature review. Then you can use the same paper to identify new articles which are of your interest. But how can you use that? You can use it by the citation of that article. I will show you in the next slide how to identify the citation and how to find the most relevant paper after the publication of that article. So identify key journal and hand search their issues. So you have to do this at yourself. Test your search strategy by checking to see if few target articles appear in the results. So you have to test your strategy for yourself and see how the articles have been refined. So this is the example for which I call the forward tracking. You can see from the left side, I searched on Google for image processing since 2020. So these are the papers from 2020 to till now. From that paper, I have circled the top paper. It has been cited by 84 authors, 84 articles. So when you click this icon on the Google Scholar, you will get all those 84 articles. Now, those 84 articles are published after this paper. So those will be more recent than this paper. So you can get the articles which has cited this article. If this article is of your interest, then you can get the more relevant articles between 2020 and 21. So this is also another way to identify your literature review. And the previous before this article, just go the references of this article and you can find the literature which was cited in this paper. Obviously, that was a relevant one and that paper has cited. So you can choose the relevant article. Not all would be relevant, but you can find most of the relevant articles by this cited by 84, clicking or by the reference of this paper. Now, the one question which was asked at how to judge that a paper published in arXiv.org is worthy to investigate or not. So if you see the citation which is circled here, right here, if that paper has in arXiv.com and it has been cited by most of the the authors, then obviously you can cite that, you can investigate that paper. because it would be of worthy to investigate, because people have cited that paper. But if you see that it has been published in 2018 and no one is citing that paper, then you can skip it, because obviously people have gone through that paper and they didn't find it interesting, and that's why they didn't cite the paper. So citation can give you the answers of many of your questions and can help you to narrow down your literature. So then synthesize the result. So describe current knowledge about a research topic, support the need for and significance of new research, explain research findings, and describe the quality of body research. So this all you have to describe by reading the papers. So once you have read the paper, you have to list down these things, not in full details, but in just in a few lines where you can explain what was the finding in the paper, what was the methodology in paper, and how the quality of the research is good or not. So the more one learns about subject, the more questions come to mind. Obviously, once you learn and then many questions come to your mind, keep a list of questions and hypotheses that come to your mind or that are mentioned in what you read. So you have to keep them all. So these questions obviously will help you to constructing your review, and obviously this will guide for discussing the implications of your findings and to identify the research directions and to discuss with the people, obviously to whom to discuss. The best source is your supervisor, because he's an expert of this field. He can guide you. What have you find is relevant or not, or you can discuss with your colleagues, lab colleagues, seniors, which can which go through this all process, and this can help you to analyze it. Then save your references. So you have to save your references in the form of tables or in the form of Word file. So there are different techniques to store them, but obviously the citation managers are the best one to record your references, like RefWork, EndNote, JabRef, Mendeley, etc., etc. So I will give you a little brief introduction about those research articles in data. Oh, sorry, reference managers in upcoming slides. So data evaluation, selecting literature, read widely. So when you read, you basically talking about the two things. So you're trying to define your research problem, obviously. Basic purpose or basic idea of your research is to define your research problem, find the gap, and then building your methodology on that one. And second is trying to read every source relevant to your search problem. But this is practically impossible. You cannot read every source which is relevant to the search problem. So you have to read the most relevant and the most significant work. And for here, we try to focus on the last 5 years publications. Yes, you can go beyond that if there are some state-of-the-art methodologies or state-of-the-art papers. But last 5 years or 6 years give you a precise pictures of the relevancy of the articles or the methodologies in your domain. Selected literature, as you define a problem, you will more easily be able to decide what to read and what to ignore. Obviously, you once read, second read, third read, and then you will be able to decide where to go and where not to go. So obviously, before defining, you can find hundreds of articles relevant to your problem, and maybe you cannot find some problems in such area, but with the passage of time, you will keep on going in this process. You will gonna learn how to get out of this circle, how to where to stop search, where you have enough material for your problem. So this all comes with experience. When you follow these steps, maybe you will be able to reach some decision that now you have enough material to support your problem. Not all, but enough material. So when you are reading, read the big picture, read the easiest work first, then skim the documents. I'll just skip this one a little bit fast because the next slide is much important than this one. So when you read the 10 to 15 papers, you can you will be in the position to argue that this paper has this methodology, this paper has this methodology, this has this limitation, and this has this limitations. So narrow your focus, start from new material to old, obviously from latest to go old, general to specific, not general, be specific. So starting with general topic, we provide least specific areas of interest and help develop understanding for the interrelationship of research. So if image processing, then image processing, you can be specific for deep learning, like using deep learning, or like brain tumor or breast cancer images, and you can define your specific areas. Note quality of journal output of author. These two can help you to also to analyze the article quality. As you read and become more informed on the topic, you will probably need to go back and go more focused work. So once you have read a topic, read a research paper, you will get yourself in a better position to refine your research again, to find more relevant articles, because going through one, you will find more keywords, more specific terminologies, which will help you to refine your research. So arrange that to spend some review time with an experienced researcher in the field of study to get feedback and to talk around any problems encountered. So again, this would be your supervisor or your lab mates or seniors in your lab, to whom you can discuss all these issues. Now, one of the most important aspect, how to read and how to make a decision that either you wanna read the complete article or not. So first one is abstract. Abstract of any paper give you an overall picture of the article. You can decide after reading the abstract that whether you want to read the whole paper or not. Yes, we do this practice. From abstract, the image, the overall picture is clear to us that either this methodology or this approach is relevant to our idea or not. If it is relevant, then we go towards the next part. If it's not, then we just go to the next article. Once we find abstract interesting, we read the introduction part, because the introduction part gives you the background of the domain, the limitations or the research gap, and the proposed methodology. So by reading introduction, you will get more details about what have been done in the paper, and what was the output, and what was the intention of this article. And once you have find it interesting, then you can go in depth about in the methodology and see how the process was executed, how the authors have completed their task. Obviously, they have a methodological section, some diagrams, graphs, or algorithms to portray the methodology, from where you can get in-depth knowledge of their methodology. And then their results, they will have evaluated the results. Then you can see that either they were logical or not, are they fabricated or not, because you have studied the methodology in depth and you have the knowledge about those parts. So you can analyze that either the author was biased or not. Then all these things you can analyze. And take discussion with a grain of salt. Edges are smooth out now. Pay attention to limitations. You have read all the article. Now you can find the limitation of the article, which will help you to build your problem. Now, once you have done all these steps, it's better when you read completed all 5 steps and you find that this article is worthy to investigate or worthy to read. Note it down in the form of paragraph. Just in one paragraph, where you can summarize the methodology, the key idea, the outcomes, and the limitation. So the next time when you come again to this article, you don't need to read the complete article. Just read the summary what you have written, and then you can evaluate on the basis of the written material. So analyze the literature. Take notes as you read through each paper that will be included in the review. So I have already told you the notes include purpose of study reviews, synopsis of contents, research design of methods used in study, brief review of findings. So I've mentioned all these things. So once the notes complete, organize common themes together. Some people do this in Word document, others use index cards so they can shuffle them. So you can also use tables in the form of columns, like this paper or this citation, or this has this methodology. It has this data set, this was the result, and this was the limitation. So you can summarize the whole many papers in a single table. So this summarize will help you in your future work when you are writing a paper, or when you are formalizing a problem, or when you are writing a dissertation. So you don't need to again go back to the paper and read it. You just go to the table or the paragraph you have written. So that will going to help you to write your chapter or write your section of the paper. So as you organize your review, integrate findings elicited from note taking or table making process. So just note them and you can go move forward. So some of the questions to consider in your review. What do you already know in the immediate area concerned? What are the characteristics of the key concepts of the main factors or variables? What are the relationships between these key concepts, factors, or variables? What are the existing theories? Where are the inconsistencies or other shortcomings in our knowledge and understanding? So these are all the questions which would be helpful to you to conduct your literature review and to summarize the papers and make it in a presentable form. So and you all, when you read a paper, these all should be answered by you. So once you answer them, and then you can be able to build on the basis of the answers to these questions. So here the first part of my workshop ends. The conducting the literature review. Now I'll move towards the second part, which was the organization of the literature review. How to organize your literature, the literature you have already collected. So in the introduction, when you are writing or when you are giving some presentable form, so introduction, you have to explain the topic is important and give the reader an idea of where you are going in your paper. So introduction is the overall picture of the paper. Many authors, even me, myself, when I review a paper, I accept, I make a quick decision after reading the introduction section. If the introduction section is quite weak, the perception of paper in my mind goes to negative. And the introduction is quite strong, then the perception of paper comes in mind is quite strong. It will be obviously finally decided after the methodology part, but this will gonna build a first perception or first image of the paper in our mind. So introductions is quite important in your writing or in your paper. So you have to group your research studies and other types of literature according to common denominators. If you have taken notes before, which I have already told you in the form of paragraphs, the common themes are more easily identifiable. So you can easily organize the related articles. So those, for example, if I am using image processing, so maybe some people have used deep learning, some people have used machine learning, and some people have used some other. So by those paragraphs you have written, you can group the methodologies of machine learning, you can group the methodology of deep learning, and you can group the other methodologies in separate sections. Sorry. Some factors used to organize reviews are conclusions of authors. So what authors have concluded in the end of the paper. What are the specific purpose of that? What is the objective and chronology? Obviously, this method is not the best one, but it all up to you when to decide it or when not to decide it. So constructive literature review summarize individual studies or articles. So you have to summarize them as already I have told you. Use as much as a little details as each material according to its comparative importance in the literature. So you should not exceed from one paragraph. One paragraph could be of 5 to 6 lines. So you have to summarize the whole article into 5 to 6 lines. So obviously space or length denotes the significance. So if you find more significant, add more lines, but not more than that. Don't need to provide a lot of detail about the procedures used in other studies. So you don't need to mention the in-depth detail of the methodology adopted. You need to give an overall picture. You need to summarize the article. So what the parameter setting was there, what was the value of X there, what was the value of Y there, you don't need to mention that. You just need to mention the overall methodology, how they started the process and how they ended. So most literature reviews only describe the main findings, relevant methodologies, issues, and or major conclusions of the research. So these are mentioned in research articles for different research papers. So discuss major areas of agreement or disagreement. So if you find any, tie the study into the current body of literature, make logical interpretations from the literature reviewed. If there is no discussion of the relevance of the overview to the other work field, or if there is no interpretation of the literature, it may signal the author has not thoroughly investigated the topic. So discussion is very important in any paper. If it says, I have heard from some researchers that if you can't find some weaknesses of your work, then you are not sure of your work. So there are weaknesses of every paper or the future work, you can say. So if the authors have not discussed any future work, not used the implications of the research, didn't discuss the outcomes of in the real world, then obviously they haven't investigated the topic thoroughly. So you can also decide or also mention these things in the literature review. So this is the organization of the review. So first introduction, the body of literature, section 1, the most appropriate ones, then section 2, the next appropriate ones, then additional sections if you find. So in sections you can add articles according to their relevance. And conclusion, you can highlight the most relevant points, relate this back to the needed research, and mention the limitations, mention the future directions, mention the any new research gap in the conclusion section. I think there is a question from.
Yes, I think the participants are looking for your slide. So probably, are you okay to share your slides after the session today?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I'll get the organizing committee to contact you to get a copy of that.
Yeah, just email me and I'll reply.
Okay. Right, thanks.
So an effective literature review places each work in the context of its contribution to the understanding of the subject under review, describe the relationship of each work with the others under consideration, identifies new ways to interpret and shed light on any gaps in previous research, resolve conflicts amongst the seemingly contradictory previous studies, identifies areas where, so these are all the issues which could lead towards an effective literature review, to organize the literature review in efficient manners. And you can keep in mind all these factors while writing or while organizing the literature you have reviewed. So be accurate and thorough. So your review acts as a guide of your topic for others. So take care to make your review citation correct, finding attributes to authors correct, make sure someone can track down the article and that you have provided a reliable representation and you have mentioned all the complete information about the paper which you have cited, which you have mentioned in your literature review. So these information required that you have actually gone through all the topics and just haven't copy pasted some material from some other resources. So there are different ways to organize your literature. Chronological of events, so you can arrange them according to your the publication year, or you can arrange them according to publication topic. You can also arrange their categories or methodological there also. But I think I will go towards the tools rather than the methodologies to organize your research, because I have used those some tools and I have found my life in ease if I compare it with without the existence of those tools, because there were some friends of mine uh, who I think spent days to write their bibliography. They were not from the computer science, they were from the other discipline. So when I told them that it took me only 5 minutes to arrange my bibliography or to produce my bibliography, they were amazed. So I told them I have used the tools, because from the day one, I was using them to organize my literature. Whatever I searched over the net, whatever I found relevant paper, I added it to my bibliography, added the PDF, marked it, and then next time when I have to go, I don't need to search it. I just get to my citation manager, check the paper, and then move accordingly. So some research tips are here. Use the A to Z guide to find key database and other resources related to your topic. Consult with the librarian for source recommendations and how to use them. Obviously, USM have provided many resources to you. I think because EndNote are also available there and other sources are also there, so you can check it with the library of the university. Talk to experienced researchers in the field. They can recommend resources, identify key workers, key workers and authors. Obviously, your supervisors, your supervisor is the best source for this, as was mine, because I wasn't aware of many of them. So my supervisor guided me to those things which I was unaware of. So look to write reviews in completed dissertations and reports from your program to get an idea of the format and requirements. When collecting references, use citation management tools like Ref and this. Now I come towards the citation management tools, because I think I have 30 minutes around, so I will try to wind up within the given time and comes towards questions remaining. So the reference management is a very crucial task. If you don't manage them, they will make your life miserable. And if you manage them, you will be in a great player. Even if you're writing a paper, you just need to organize your library only once. Then how many papers you wrote, your dissertation, and whatever you've done, that one library will going to help you throughout your PhD career, or throughout your PhD period or your master's period. So it will going to save your time and effort, obviously. Organize and store references, make it in-text citation based on required styles, create a list of references based on required styles. So currently reference work, RefWorks and EndNote mentioned, but there are other tools. So it's all up to you which tool you find more convenient to you, more easy to you, you can choose it. So there are a list of some famous tools. And to use them. I think there was a question again. Maybe I can have it.
Yes. The question was posted by Muhammad Tayyab. The question goes, how to conduct and organize a literature review in order to map a research question with research objective. If the research problem is on the intersection of different areas, such as intrusion detection based on machine learning and blockchain.
Okay, now you are talking about different domains. So your research is a combination of domain A and domain B. So when you are talking, obviously you have to prepare the research questions for intrusion detection separately, and for the machine learning techniques separately, or blockchain. Then you have to prepare research questions that which techniques have been used to intrusion detection, right? So maybe those are not machine learning techniques, those are some other techniques. And then you have to see how machine learning techniques are used to solve a problem. Once you have a bigger picture that how intrusion detection intrusion detections have been detected and how machine learning works, then you can connect these two into one picture, that how to detect intruder detection using machine learning algorithms. So you can combine these two terms literally, and then you can organize your literature. So your literature will be intruder detection is main problem, because this is the main area, and you are using machine learning or blockchain for the detection of intruders. So the domain will be intruder detection, the main keyword, and sub keywords will be machine learning and blockchain. So with this help, you can move towards. So no need to go in depth with the machine learning approaches. Just you need how machine learning works. So you can use the same part or same idea to detect the intruders. Obviously, intruder detection there would be, because I'm not very much familiar with this particular field. So there could be different criteria, different problems over there, because this is a broad term. So you need to have a more precise term where you want to detect the intruders, whether over the cloud, over the internet, and so on. So according to that, you have to prepare your such questions. So when you prepare such questions, then you can see how machine learning works and how machine learning solutions can be used to the intruder detection. So from this to combining research questions, you can find your relevant articles, and you can build your problem. So there are some more. So I was talking about the reference managers. So let's have some overview of few of them. So reference work is collects and formats the references using scholarly writing. You can save the references you plan to cite in your review and ensure that they are automatically formatted in the in the appropriate style. So almost all the reference managers provides you a handsome amount of citation styles. So you just need to build the library, add the resources. Yes, you can add from Google Scholars. Yes, you can add from Web of Science. You can add from even your laptop. Once you have built it, then you can assign a specific citation style which could be used. And obviously this would may need some more in-depth practical in perform practical workshop or practical demonstration, which is not possible right now. So I'm just that's why explaining you. So web-based services access your account and work with your reference from any internet-capable computer around the world. So Reference provides you an online library. So you don't need to have to stick on your laptop. So wherever you are, you just log in and you can access your library, and you can cite your papers from literature from there. So collecting references from RefWorks, once RefWorks has the data for citation, it will create citation and bibliography for you. 4 ways to put reference into reference work. So now this is the basic idea where these citation management comes. So once you have searched the article, whether it's from Google Scholar, whether it's from Web of Science, Medline, PubMed, and other search databases. So you just need to go to the reference work and import the reference. Now the reference managers provide you that you can search using the paper title. You can search using the DOI. You can search using the, I think from author, some allowed, some didn't, but from DOI and title, you can search. So once you search for using the refer, then add it into your library. So you don't need to just go to the Google Scholar and copy paste. No, just go, if you have found a relevant paper, just go to the ref work, add the paper there, and add into your library. So import web pages from RefGrab, bookmark downloaded from RefWorks, cache the screen of information. You can also add the web pages, which seems to be important for your research, and you can add it into your reference manager. So search the library catalog for format from within the RefWorks. So the RefWorks also provide you the library catalog for PubMed and Google Scholar, etc. So manually create a reference by filling out a form. Also, it provides you, if it could not find a paper on the web, so it provides you a facility to manually enter a paper into your library. So you can automatically, if you can't do automatically, you can also do manually. But once you have done, then it will be reusable for any time. Similarly, and not, but well, we will discuss later. So you can import citations, search categories, and PubMed from within the program as features cite while you write the inserts in text into your Word document. So just need to select the title paper you want to cite in your text from the EndNote, and that will be automatically pasted in your Word document, and at the end your bibliography will be generated automatically. But it's not a free software, it's a paid one, but some you can get it on a discounted price. I think universities also provide this EndNote software for the students and faculty. But it's not a web-based, it's a desktop-based, so you cannot use different machines. And it has more styles than draft work, easier to create custom output styles, and cite while you write, easier to work with than reference work, write and cite. Now there's another citation style, which is JabRef, one of the most famous ones. I also practically used it, and I'm still using it. Very user friendly. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling my experience. So you use whatever you like, which is to you. So with JabRef, you can organize your citations, you can organize your references, you can organize your PDFs. You can search with the ISBN DOI. You can search with the title. So when you search with the Google Scholar, it will gonna give you the paper and title. Just you need to click and add it into your library. Also, you can link your PDF files which you have downloaded. So it has also provided, not even JabRef, also Mendeley efforts are provided that you don't need to keep separate your PDF files or have to arrange your PDF files separately. You can arrange your PDF files which you have downloaded into the same tool. So where you have mentioned this reference, there is also an option to link of the PDF. So just click the PDF, that will the PDF will be open to you. So you can use it for the Word, you can use it for the LaTeX, because it provides one of the most famous citation style, which is BibTeX. So it is offered in the JabRef. Then comes the Mendeley. Mendeley is also a very popular citation tool, which is also available online. So you can also manage your references online with the help of this Mendeley, and also you can organize your PDFs. Then there comes Dossier. This tool also provides you both capabilities, the organization of the PDF files and the organization of your references. This is the one of the picture, which you can see a tree-like structure where Dossier have provided you the library, your PDF files which are relevant to you, and you can easily click on anyone, and the PDF file will be open. So these are some standard generic reference managers. Now I'll come towards another powerful tool, which is Kika, which I have used not in extensively, but I have some practical experience with this software. And I found that it is a very good tool to organizing your literature, because it gives you so many features that can ease your search in the literature you have downloaded. Because obviously there won't be like 10, 15 PDF files. There could be hundreds of PDF files, hundreds of articles which you have downloaded, which could be of your interest. So what will you do? Each time go to the reference manager. Reference manager also going to help it, but not as deeply as Kika. But what will you do? Search the article, then again read it, then search the relevant article, that in which article the same thing has been done. So I will give you an overview of the features of some of the Kika which it provides, which helps you to organize your literature in more efficiently, in more accurately, and more friendly way as compared to the other reference managers. So Kika is an award-winning open access tool. Previously, it wasn't open access, but I think recently they have make it open access. So it allows to work with thousands of PDFs. So there's no restriction. PDF management and brainstorming is there. It also used the NLP, natural language processing techniques, to guide researchers. It combines reference management tool, citation manager, and brainstorming tool. So these all are combined in one tool, which is Kika. Can be integrated with Word and BibTeX or LaTeX. So you can easily import a citation. You can easily manage your PDFs. So let's discuss a little bit about the features which Kika provide. So Kika will give you the management of your PDF. You can arrange PDFs according to their classifications. You can arrange according to their year. You can arrange according to their concept. You can arrange according to their methodology, whatever you want. It's all up to you. They are all provided in the under the one umbrella. So you can see that there are different tags: added recently, read recently, reading recommended. So we can also provide you the recommendation that these articles are relevant to those articles which have already been read by you. So optical character recognition, unlike many other reference managers, Kika comes with powerful built-in OCR. You can then perform fast full text search, get automatic abstracts, keyword section, and so on. This is because some papers are, because which are the old ones, they come with the images. So Kika also work with the text in the images. So it's also provide to how to search text with them, how to extract the abstract from them, how to extract the keywords from the such papers where the images are mentioned. It creates some metadata for you. Now, the scholarly articles, there is some kind of metadata like title, like authors, year publication, venue publication, right? These are the DOI. So these are the metadata of any paper. So what Kika do, it gives you a complete package, complete metadata for every paper. Now, many PDF files are capable of comes with the metadata information, which is automatically extracted, but many are not. So what Kika do, it will go to the net and search the metadata for itself. So you just need to ask Kika to generate a metadata. So it will go to the Google Scholar or some other databases or the net and automatically generate a metadata for any paper. So how it would help? Obviously, it will automatically help you to organize your literature according to year wise, according to author wise, according to title wise, or methodology wise. So the metadata will give you more features, more suits to organize and manage your research. So this is an metadata sniffer. So if you have 50 papers, but none of them have metadata, so filling obviously will take ages. So Kika BP Sniffer is an innovative way to searching Google Scholar for correct metadata and then importing directly. So net result, with Kika, you can import a bunch of documents and have them OCRed and metadata in no time. So you just need to click and all the paper metadata will be, which metadata is available over the Google Scholar will be imported into the Kika. So you can tag it, because tags are convenient and quick way to grouping documents. Add tags to your documents. Like if we talk about the previous question for introductory reduction, so you can tag in papers introductory reductions, tag papers with machine learnings, tag papers with blockchains. So you can tag them manually, whatever you want, how many tags you want to create, you can create it. Even it auto tagged the articles of the within the library and give you the suggestions. So you just need to ask Kika. So Kika will do, it assigns a different tags, more than one tags to some every article. And then you can sort the articles according to that. For example, if you say that, okay, how many articles have discussed about the intruder detection? So when you click intruder detection, so all papers which discuss about the intruder detection will be sorted in front of you. So full text search. So you can also full text search into your entire library. So results are ranked shown directly in the library screen with previews. So you can see that you have searched for the one word or one text. So it will gonna give you the relevancy of the paper with your search query from within your library. So if you have 100 papers and you don't know the title of the paper or didn't remember the title of the paper, but you know what was the idea in the paper or what was the keyword in the paper title. So you just can search and it will gonna give you the relevant papers, the most appropriate paper for the relevance. So you can see that the grammar word was searched and it gives you 66% relevance with this paper, 56 for this, and so on. The bottom will be most less relevant papers. So you can organize and manage your library efficiently with the help of the Kika. You can apply filters and you can combine your search with them. And if you need in future, you can sort your library according to SOC, score, title, authors, year, rating, favorite, and etc. These are all available tabs for you. So expedition library analysis, use expedition while you are new to the field and at the end when you want to make sure you have cited all the relevant papers in each area. View expedition results across your entire library with easy access to the documents to discover you have like to delve deeper into. So this is, you can see that expedition, what will do, the documents relevant to this document 62%, and here themes of this document, this is having showed that how many documents are there with the relevance of DP with the natural language, with NLP, and so on. So this is shown the overall picture of the relevance of the article. So this article is more relevant to the NLP, then to natural language, then to DP, and then to others. So you can choose which article to study or which article to investigate. Then brainstorming, whether you're planning the project, organizing exam materials, or making notes as you search, keep your ideas and thoughts from getting lost by arranging them in a mind map. So it will all give you in the Kika. Notes can be files, images, text documents, or internet links. They can be linked and rearranged, and you can zoom in and out for the right level of details. So as with Kika, integrated PDFs can be tagged into your brainstorm, and later you can click back to the original document. So you can also shuffle between documents. It also allows you to easily explore your library, mapping related documents as you go. So how it looks like this one, it's like a tree structure. So you can add documents in it, and if it was relevant to any keyword, it will automatically gonna attach to that keyword. If not, then it will gonna create a new keyword. You can extrude from here. So if you are searching a document like redemption provisions, and you want to now move to the sinking fund, just click that sinking fund. The publication relevant to that one will gonna appear in front of you. So it is easier to you to go through the hundreds of papers which you have downloaded and then finding the most relevant for what you are looking for right now. So what's the document site quickly finds out which terms, keywords dominates a paper and which themes. So you click a keyword, it directly jumps into instances and keep it towards to that there. So here, if you there a keyword, then it is just click it and it will directly take you into the paper where this keyword has been appeared. And there could be multiple papers you can use. In multiple papers you can search the same keyword. So here you can see it shows that where with the complete sentence the where keyword has been mentioned. So it's easy to you to search the most appropriate one. Non-related documents in Kika and Google Scholars. So easily view the relevant documents in your library by theme or author, and also it helps you to discover new documents through the Google Scholars. So simply go to Google Scholars within the Kika, and you can easily import your relevant papers which are of your interest, or which are related to your field, into your Kika. So these are some few features. So you can go to the Kika website and get more in-depth explanation on other features too, and you can use it, and you can see how this helps you in terms of organization of your research, in organization of your scholarly articles which you have downloaded in a bulk of amount. So I think here I'm gonna end this presentation and move towards the questions floors.
Thank you very much, Doctor. It's very informative, and I think most of our students, especially those just started to embark the journey in research, this information is really helpful. So let us move on to the Q&A session.
Sure.
Actually, there are two questions just now that we haven't answered. I think one of them, it's from the first part of your sharing just now, is from Mr. Bello. The question is this: what do you say to journals published by universities but are Q4 both in Scopus and Web of Science impact factor? So this is the question that being posted by Bello just now.
Well, if it's Q4 in Scopus and Web of Science with impact factor, then there's no issue. I already told in between my presentation that as long as impact factor is there, then you don't need to worry much. But obviously, for Q4, it will be of lower quality. For Q1, it will be of high quality. But still, these are quality papers, not out of the Predatory Journals or any others. So if there is impact factor, even if it's zero impact factor, it's worthy to investigate. It's worthy to study.
Right.
Please, can I just add my voice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, to elaborate on my question, what I'm trying to say is that, does that mean that university as a citadel of learning is not capable of having a journal index in Scopus, no matter the quartile, that can be trusted? A university, for that matter, has a journal, irrespective of the quartile of that journal. Are you saying that it's no more reliable than an institute or some organization that just form they just form the organization and call and have a journal, or the name that you find its way to Q1 and Q2? Are you saying that it's better than a citadel of learning, a tertiary for that matter, that has some professors that can, as in, that can vouch for the quality of their journal, though he has not found his way to the Q1 rank, but it's Q4? Is it not better than Q1 of some other organization that just formed the organization? That is what I want to know.
Well, a part of your question I understood, and if you can write it, it will be better to me to evaluate and understand properly. Well, as I said you earlier, which I understood, that Q4 doesn't mean that it has no quality. The standards could vary from university to university. We cannot claim any, or we cannot, you can say, object university about their standards. They can maintain standards, because in Pakistan, even here, many universities are not accepting Scopus index. They only accept the impact factor journals. Whether it was Scopus or not, they don't consider about it. So we can't object the university. We can't make raise any question. But for quality, if you say that, obviously the standards are there to measure the Q1 and Q4 quality. It's not necessary that all Q4 journal articles are of low quality. No, it's not a right statement. There could be journals and articles which are in Q4 journals which would be of high quality, because I have seen some. I have seen an article which was a review article, and it was published, I think, in a Q4, Q3, Q4 journal. But it was outstanding, and it was the highly cited articles by the researchers. So it is an overall image, or overall, you can say, the reputation. It doesn't mean that all the papers are the same quality. No, papers could be of good quality. It's all up to you how you receive the paper, or how other researchers have perceived the paper. So it all depends upon you.
Right. Thank you very much for answering this, Dr. Toqir. I saw a participant raising the hand, Mr. Johnson. Would you like to ask a question? Hello, Mr. Johnson. Are you there? We can't hear you actually. Or would you like to tap it out? Okay, while waiting for Mr. Johnson to post his question, maybe we move to the next one first from Awal Shehu Ali. So he asked, what can you suggest for the students who need access to journal that are not subscribed by USM library like IEEE and others?
The best way is to email the authors, because many times I have some experience, good experience, bad both. But some researchers do reply you with their papers, but most of the cases they don't. Now, question remains again there. So this is an official platform, and on official platform, I can't give you the solution, but I can give you the hint. Go to the Google, search for it. You can find some sites which provide you articles for free, which are in IEEE Explore, or databases which are paid but didn't subscribe by USM.
Right. I hope this answered Awal. Okay, thank you. Right. Dr. Gan is suggesting by trying to request from the author via the ResearchGate. That could be one option as well.
Yeah, that is one option.
So, yeah. Mr. Johnson, are you ready with the question? You want to try again? We can't really hear you, or anybody can help Mr. Johnson with that.
His mic already unmuted, but
yeah, but we
can't
can't hear
him.
you. Yeah. I actually have
Maybe,
another. Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, you can try to type at the chat.
Yes.
Type your question.
Okay. I actually have another question from a participant, but I'm not sure whether he or she is still on the line, from Saadatu Abu Bakar. But I believe just now, Dr. Toqir, you may have already answered, but let me repeat the question again. How quality are the articles searched from the arvix.org?
Well, I think I mentioned, because there is no standard for that, but just give me, let me go back to one of the, yeah. So from here, this is the Google Scholar. So you can go there, check the citation. If it has been cited by many researchers, then it would be worthy to investigate. This is the tip. It's not a standard. There is no standard basically. So it's a tip. If it was, for example, if this paper was published in outside.org, then I would obviously be studying, be investigating this article because it has been cited by 84 authors. But if it wasn't cited by any authors, so maybe I won't go towards that.
Okay. Sada, I think Dr.
Hello, can you
Toqir.
hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello,
Is it Johnson?
hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yes, yes. Can you
Okay.
please ask your question?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Olariwaju Johnson, and I want to thank Doctor and everyone for this workshop. I discovered that the lecture has been very much informative, and the first part of the lecture happens to be much theoretical and informative and very informative for us. Thank you very much. And but I want to make a very good comment here that towards the end part of the lecture, I discovered that it's more like practical, and sometimes or most times it's rather done. You rather see it done than being said. So I strongly want to suggest that if it could be possible, that the ending part towards the use of the tools, the softwares for referencing, like the QuAB and other ones, if you can have a very good opportunity of practicalizing it, doing it with one or two examples, I think that could be better than seeing it and showing it and we are listening to it. Because I discovered that the ending part is the major takeaway for me for this evening lecture. So I want to appeal strongly to Dr. Gan and others, if the ending part of this lecture could be taken at another appropriate time, maybe one of our seminars of Friday, that we can have a practical hands-on on some of these tools that has been showcased this evening, like the quicker, the job reference, all the other tools that have been showcased by Doctor. Thank you very much. That's my kind request.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Right. Okay. So with the time constraint, maybe we get one final question. I think it was posted in the chat box by Noratika Nordin. How many papers is the best to do the review paper? Is it okay if it's less than 50 papers?
Well, if I speak frankly, then it's not. But if I speak a little bit more, you can say the precisely, maybe for some domain it could possible, but for how much I have worked is for the current era. You can see there are thousands, millions of papers published in every year. So it's not possible to justify less than 50 papers in a review paper. There could be more than hundreds of papers. 50 papers you can see within 1 year in any domain. So how can you, yes, if you are going to the systematic literature review, and you define a timeline that this literature review has covered within this time period, then it could be possible. But if you are talking about generally, then it is lesser than the required amount, a reasonable amount.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Doctor, for answering this question. So I hope this concludes the session. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Toqir, for your workshop just now, and also for all the participants who have been actively listening and participating in this session. So right now, I would like to ask a favor from all of us on the line. Let's take a group photo to record such a fruitful day. So right now, I would like to invite Ms. Hazika to be our photographer of the day. Let us turn on our camera. And Ms. Hazika, are you ready? If yes, I'll pass this over to you.
Okay, I think let's give everyone a little bit of time to switch on the
Yes.
camera.
All right, let's open the camera.
Yeah. We also received feedback that there is an issue with feedback forms. Yeah, we are trying to figure out what is the issue.
The issue is the colon on the row. Instead of coding for row, the person coded for colon. It should be for colon and not row. Just it's a little mistake.
Okay, so later you give us some time to fix
I
it.
think it's very okay.
Okay. All right, in a count of 1, 2, 3, please smile. Give me some time to take photos of everyone. All right. Okay.
Say cheese.
Yeah, say cheese, smile. All right. Okay, give me a moment, yeah. All right, so we move to the next side. All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Okay, another side. Right, you guys need to smile all along because we are moving the arrow, so we are not sure at which part you are being captured. So just keep smiling until I say stop smiling.
Nice to see my
Okay.
old student, Kang Teng. I think more than 15 years.
Shh, Dr. Mr. Azam.
Okay, yep, we are done. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you, Hazika. So before we conclude our session, Hazika, would you like to help me with the first announcement?
All right, okay. So as you guys are aware, we are having our main CSPC tomorrow. It will be our second day where we have all those 3MT competition, poster competition, and the forum session, as well as our keynote session. And one of the highlight during that time is our poster People Choice Award. Okay, so please visit the link over here. As you can see, the Padlet URL. So do voting. Okay, like the poster that you think is the most interesting one, and we can give the best People Choice Award for the poster competition. We are going to close the link by tomorrow, 2 p.m. for us to finalize the voting. Okay, so that's a little bit. So hopefully you guys are still excited and energetic as us to join one more session tomorrow. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Hazika. So just now, I think Dr. Gan mentioned about the feedback form. There's a little bit of technical issue over there. So please give us some time. We will release the link again. Dr. Gan, are we going to post it after this or?
Yeah, I think we can, let's stay back for a short while if you can.
Okay.
We're trying to fix it now. Yeah.
All right. So while waiting, I think on behalf of the committee, so I would like to extend our gratitude to all of you in making this workshop a success. And once again, a big thanks to all our three speakers today, Dr. Ahmad, Dr. Laif, and Dr. Toqir. So thank you everyone for your time and attention today. our workshop has come to an end, but please stay for a while for the feedback form, and I'll play some music for you to relax. Also, please take care and stay safe. I'll see you again tomorrow at the Computer Science Postgrad Colloquium 2021, all right? So please stay back for a while.
I think in the meantime, you may just take a look at our virtual poster to do the voting. Yeah, while waiting for the feedback form, just take a look at the CSPC posters and vote for your friends. We will be having People Choice Award. Yeah. I think we are seeing gray screen. Showing something. Sorry. Just wait for a while. There's an issue in the feedback form. Please stay with us for a while. You may just visit the poster plus our poster presentation. While waiting.
Alright, guys, please excuse me. The link is ready now. You can check in the chat box. We have pasted a new link for you to fill in the feedback form. The feedback form. So please go ahead and fill in the form. We apologize for the inconvenience that happened. Alright, so please go ahead and fill in the form. And yep, I hope it managed to go through now.
Thank you very much, Hazika.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.
So, Dr. Khan, we will stay on the line for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, let's stay for a few minutes until the participants have filled up the form, and then once they start to leave, then we will end the session.
All right, thank you.
Okay, see everyone tomorrow.
See you.
Don't forget to
Have a
come.
good rest. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Gan, we are closing now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we will close in 1 minute time.
See you all.
Okay, tomorrow, if you want to listen to nice music by Kangting, just join us earlier.
Okay.
Kangting?
Yeah.
I think, I think people love your music.
Thank you.
All right, okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye. Okay, thanks everyone for joining. See you tomorrow.